You know what's wild to me? A 41-year-old pitcher just signed a deal to come back and compete at the highest level of baseball, and people are sleeping on how significant this actually is. Max Scherzer is returning to the Toronto Blue Jays, and I need to talk about this because I feel like not enough people are having the right conversation about what this means. Let me just set the scene for a second. 2 weeks into spring training, no fanfare, no big press conference, just a quiet agreement. 1 year, $3 million. For a guy who made $15.5 million last season. For a guy who has 3 Cy Young awards. For a guy who has been one of the most dominant pitchers of his generation. And he took $3 million to come back. Think about that for a second, because I think that tells you everything you need to know about where Max Scherzer is at mentally right now. This isn't about the money. It was never about the money. This is about unfinished business. Because here's the thing people keep forgetting. The Blue Jays went to the World Series last year. They went to Game 7. They were 4 outs away from a championship, and Max Scherzer was on that mound in the 7th game of the World Series, a 41-year-old man throwing in the biggest moment of the season, giving them 4 1/3 innings of one-run baseball. The crowd in Toronto was roaring. The energy was electric, and then he walked off the mound to a standing ovation, and the bullpen couldn't hold it, and they lost 5-4 in 11 innings to the Dodgers. You think Max Scherzer went home that night and thought, all right, I'm good, I've done enough? Absolutely not. That's not who this man is. That has never been who this man is. I've watched this guy compete for almost 2 decades now, since his days with the Tigers, when he was a good pitcher, figuring out how to be a great one. Then Washington, where he became arguably the best pitcher in baseball for a stretch of years that we don't talk about enough. 2 no-hitters in 1 season. Back-to-back Cy Young Awards, a World Series in 2019. Then he went to the Dodgers, then the Mets, that whole disaster with the injury. Then he bounced back with Texas and won another ring in 2023, and then he came to Toronto and gave them everything he had at 40 years old, and now he's back at 41 for more. 221 career wins, 3,489 strikeouts, 11th all-time, 20 strikeouts behind Walter Johnson. Walter Johnson, who pitched over 100 years ago. Max Scherzer is 20 strikeouts behind a Hall of Famer who pitched in the dead ball era. That is genuinely insane when you sit with it. And people want to talk about his ERA last year being 5.19 like that's some kind of indictment. The man threw 85 innings in the regular season, coming back from injury at 40 years old, and then went out there and competed in October when it mattered most. Context matters, durability matters, and what he brings to that clubhouse matters in ways that don't show up in any box score. John Schneider literally said, the guy questions base running, questions defense, questions offense. He said Scherzer still thinks he's the best base runner on the team from his days with the Nationals. Is that funny? Yes. Is it also kind of perfect? Absolutely. That competitive edge, that refusal to accept anything less than maximum effort and maximum attention to detail, that is contagious. That spreads through a roster. Younger pitchers watch how he prepares, how he studies hitters, how he approaches every single start like it might be his last, and they get better because of it. Now look at the rotation Toronto is building around him. Dylan Cease, Kevin Gausman, Shane Bieber, Trey Yesavage, Cody Ponce, Jose Barrios, Eric Lauer. That is a lot of arms. That is real depth. And adding Scherzer into that mix, even as a veteran presence who might slot in as a 5th or 6th option, gives them something invaluable. It gives them a proven October pitcher. A guy who has been in elimination games, a guy who stood on the mound in Game 7 of the World Series and competed. You cannot manufacture that experience. You cannot teach it. You either have it or you don't, and Scherzer has it in abundance. The bonus structure on this deal is also worth paying attention to. $3 million guaranteed, but he can earn up to $10 million more in performance bonuses starting at 65 innings. So essentially, the Blue Jays are saying, prove you're healthy, prove you can stay on the field, and we'll pay you accordingly. And Scherzer is saying, fine, watch me. That's a bet both sides are comfortable making, which tells you the relationship between this player and this organization is genuinely good. He wants to be there. They want him there. It's clean. What I keep coming back to, though, is the age thing, because I think we underestimate how hard it is to even want to compete at 41 as a starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. The grind of a season is brutal on a young body, let alone one that's been through what Scherzer's body has been through. The injuries, the recoveries, the adjustments you have to constantly make as your stuff naturally evolves over time. Most guys check out mentally long before their bodies give out. They take the money, they coast. They go through the motions. Scherzer is the opposite of that person. He is constitutionally incapable of coasting, and that might be the most impressive thing about him at this stage of his career. 2 World Series rings, one with the Nationals in 2019, one with the Rangers in 2023, 8 All-Star selections, 3 Cy Young Awards, and he's still here, still competing, still taking the ball in October, still pushing younger players to be better, still trying to get a 3rd ring with a team that came agonizingly close last fall. I think Toronto gets back to the World Series this year. I think their rotation is genuinely elite when healthy. I think their lineup has enough pieces to be dangerous. And I think having Max Scherzer in that building, in that rotation, in that October moment if they get there again, is not a small thing. It might not show up in the win-loss record during a random Tuesday in June. But when it's Game 5 of the ALCS and Schneider needs someone who has done this before, who has stood on that mound with the season on the line and delivered, he's going to want Max Scherzer, and Scherzer is going to want the ball. That's why this deal makes complete sense. $3 million is practically nothing for what this guy brings. The Hall of Fame numbers, the veteran presence, the October experience, the competitive fire that apparently still burns so hot the man argues about base running in a major league clubhouse at 41 years old. The Blue Jays didn't just sign a pitcher, they re-signed a leader. They re-signed someone who knows what it takes to win at the highest level and refuses to settle for anything less. The question now is health. It's always health with Scherzer at this point. If he can stay on the field and give them those innings, they're going to be better for it. If the body cooperates the way they're hoping it will, watch out. Because a motivated, healthy Max Scherzer pitching for a team with a genuine shot at a championship is still one of the more dangerous things in baseball. He came back for a reason. The Blue Jays kept the door open for a reason. This story isn't over yet. And honestly, I wouldn't bet against him. After everything I've watched this man do over 18 years in this league, I have stopped counting him out entirely. $3 million and a chance to finish what he started last October. That's the deal. And somehow it feels like both sides got exactly what they wanted.